Well, howdy folks, we are back in the garage today for a very special video. We're taking a look at 4 of the new tanks in the new German medium line. The first tank in the new German line is the Panzer Three Tier 4 medium tank. The strengths of this tank are its power to weight ratio, its speed, and its traverse, so overall its mobility is really good. Rate of fire of the gun is quite high, the view range is best in class at 240 meters, and the gun also has a very nice aim time of 1.9 seconds, while also sporting middle-of-the-road armor for its tier. The major weaknesses of this tank are pretty much centered on the gun, with fairly low penetration, low alpha, and a gun depression of only 6 degrees. And now a quick look at our consumables, ammunition, and equipment loadouts. The consumables, I always go multi-purpose pack, but especially I get the chocolate. It adds 10% to your crew mastery. Why not? Ammunition, whatever mix you prefer, I think, but I would recommend a good store of APCRs. You're going to need it with the low pen of the 5cm gun. In equipment, I always go with the improved ventilation, additional grousers to maximize the already awesome mobility of the Panzer Three, and I go with the coated optics to maximize my already best-in-class view range on the Panzer Three. The Panzer Three can be very capable in the right hand, so get out there and take your best shot. Now, next up, we've got the VK30.01D, and this is a really good all-around tank at Tier 6 for a medium. It's got specs that allow it to be very competitive with the other Tier 6 medium tanks. Some of the strengths of this tank include a great gun with the highest pen in its tier, good mobility with competitive traverse speeds, and a power-to-weight ratio second only to the Cromwell. It's got middle-of-the-road armor, but with sloping that even a T-34 would be envious of. This tank seems to be so nicely balanced out that there are no significant weaknesses compared to the rest of the Tier 6 medium pack. And, some specs are weaker than the others in the tier, but then others are somewhat stronger. So I think it's going to be a really fun tank to play. And now we turn our attention to the Tier 8, the Indian Panzer, who notably has the highest DPM of top-mounted gun, along with a seriously wicked 10 degrees of gun depression. Although it falls a little short in the aim time category with a 2.9 second result there. Looking a little more closely at the gun, we can see that it has slightly better specs than the L7188 that the Panther II is packing. And as far as DPM is concerned, it totally outclasses the T44, and it outclasses the Centurion as well. Couple this up with your minus 10 degrees of gun depression, and you've got a pretty effective weapon there. When considering the mobility of the Indian Panzer and comparing it to its peers in Tier 8, it does show up as a wee bit lackluster on the traverse speeds, both hull and turret, although it is compared fairly closely to the Centurion, but other than that, it's definitely outclassed. It does have a good top speed though, 50 clicks, that's not bad for getting around, and a power to weight ratio of 15.96, also mediocre. But when we look at the armor on the Indian Panzer, it is quite good. It's not bad at all. It compares very favorably with its peers, and that slope on that front glacis plate, wow. A quick detour to the loadouts I like to use with this tank. I'm going to stop at the consumables area. The one really of note is the chocolate. I always put this on for a tank. It gives you 10% more of your crew mastery. Why not? And as for ammunition, it's pretty much my standard loadout. Mostly regular AP, a few APCR, and a couple HEs just in case. The gun on this tank is that good that I don't carry that much APCR. And finally, my equipment loadout. I always go with the enhanced ventilation, the gun rammer, but for this particular tank, because its aim time is nasty at 2.9 seconds, I have equipped it with the enhanced gunlaying drive to reduce that time by 10%. The Indian Panzer is definitely a tank I'm looking forward to playing regularly. I think it's just going to be a blast. I bet you will too. And now we come to the last tank, the holy grail of this video, the Leopard 1. Looking at the Leopard 1's gun more closely, it is on par with all of its peers in the Tier 10 medium category. When it comes to mobility, regarding traverse speeds, the Leo is pretty much middle of the road, but when it comes to top speed, it is the king of the jungle. When it comes to armor, the Leopard 1 is set up for mobility. The whole setup of that tank screams mobility. All the other Tier 10 mediums have a lot more armor on the front. They can trade some shots. The Leo is not built for trading shots. It's built for running around the flanks and jamming shots in at people. When we look at the loadouts that I run for the Leo 1, they're pretty much standard. And the most notable one would be the chocolate again. It gives you 10% to your crew mastery. Why wouldn't you run it? When we look at the ammunition that I run with the Leo, it's kind of standard. I take your basic ammo, and in this case, the Leo 1 standard ammo is a PCR. I take a little bit of heat for those extra tough nuts, and a little HE just for those soft shell guys with a lot of hit points. Likewise, again with the equipment, it's basically my standard loadout. I've got the enhanced ventilation, I've got a gun rammer. Let's enhance all the positive points of the Leo. And then I take the coated optics so that I can get 10% view range on my opponents. Woo, and that's when the fight broke out. Well guys, that's the end of the video. If you like this video, please consider hitting the thumbs up. If you really like our videos, please consider subscribing. You'll get a notice every time we put a new video out, and that way you don't miss out on the new content. There are other tanks in this line, as you know, and to get all the info on those, head over to my good buddy 48 Ton Ruckus's YouTube channel. He's got all the info on the tanks in between the tanks that I did. Alright folks, thanks very much for stopping by and watching. I'll catch you next time.